The audit is complete. Let's make that final check. Episode 48.
They said the page was aligned. That was the explanation.
Yes, Sarah.
Formatted, adjusted, corrected. Nothing unusual. That was how they wanted it to sound. Ordered, balanced, harmless. Because once lines looked straight enough, most people stopped asking whether they truly belonged to the same structure. That was the mistake. Alignment was not just straightness. It was agreement. Lines that belonged together shared spacing, rhythm, distance. They followed the same rule. They did not drift apart while still pretending to be parallel. The document lay on the desk between them.
Terms are more than favorable.
Flat,
I believe
official,
we have reached
rows
a
of
mutually
text running
beneficial
evenly across the page.
I concur.
That was what they wanted her to see. A well-formatted sheet, a corrected layout, a structure with no error left behind. The man across from her didn't look worried. He looked settled. "It's aligned," he said. Calm, easy, certain, as if straight lines were enough to prove order. For most people, they were, because once text looked level enough, they stopped asking whether the spacing still agreed from one line to the next. That was the comfort of symmetry. Sarah looked at the lines, not at how straight they appeared, at the distance between them, at how one section sat slightly tighter than the rest. That was the difference. Other people saw alignment. Sarah saw inconsistency. A woman to the side relaxed too early. Another person pressed the page flatter against the desk, as if pressure could make spacing look uniform. That was useful. It meant they believed parallel was enough. Sarah leaned forward, not to question the lines themselves.
The
to
spacing
compare the
pattern
space
here
between
suggests
them.
a 70-30 division.
That was where the story
but the
broke.
rhythm difference
A
indicates
true
a
alignment
much smaller
kept equal
mapping.
spacing. This one didn't. Most lines held a steady rhythm, but one section compressed slightly, closer, tighter, out of pattern. That was the problem. The lines had not been aligned. Part of them had been moved, adjusted inward, while the rest remained unchanged. That was worse, because formatting could be blamed on correction, but spacing that broke its own rhythm belonged to interference, to insertion, to something that altered structure without rebuilding it. Sarah looked again.
What is it?
Not at the lines, at the
What
gap
is it?
between them. The man across from her noticed the pause. His shoulders changed before his face did. That was enough. "What is it?" the woman asked. Too soon, too exposed. Sarah placed one finger between two evenly spaced lines, then moved it to the tighter section. "This holds," she said. Then she held the compressed gap. "This doesn't." Silence. No one interrupted, because alignment was not appearance, it was consistency. And consistency was hard to fake once one section refused to follow the rest. The man leaned forward, looked at the lines again, then the tighter gap, then back again. He didn't answer. That was the answer. The woman to the side straightened slowly. Another person stopped touching the page. That was how certainty broke. Not when lines looked straight, when spacing stopped agreeing. The same page they called aligned now exposed the section that had been forced out of rhythm. Sarah didn't push further. She didn't need to. The spacing was doing enough already. One gap, one compression, one pattern that broke itself.
As you can
Three
see, the Q3
details that should have
projections are
protected
solid.
their version,
What about the liabilities
now
in
turning
section
against
4?
it. The
We
man
are
sat
still
back,
reviewing that data.
careful now, no longer settled. The document remained open between them, still straight, still formal, still presentable, and no longer believable. Sarah stepped back half a pace, still there, still watching, but no longer proving. Because once spacing tightens in only one place, alignment stops being the explanation. And sometimes, the fastest way to expose what was adjusted inside a structure is not to look at the lines. It is to measure the distance they no longer share.
Every detail is in place. Stay with me for the final reveal. Subscribe now.